Well, if you didn't tune in for the pre-show, now's the time for you to tune into the real show. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the second day of the Jönköping Major. I'm Intero, this is Pengu, and we are going to be starting off with one of the teams that you and I started off with yesterday, and one of the teams that Dev and Mandy started off with yesterday. We have CYCLOPS Athlete Gaming, CAG for short form, versus the Soniqs, a.k.a. SQ for short. Both of these teams will be fighting for their lives here at the Major. On your screen are their rosters. The star players from CYCLOPS did not have the performance that they wanted yesterday. Today is really the last chance for them to be able to find their footing and put their team in contention to do something that CYCLOPS has never done.
Make it out of groups.
That's what it is.
Go into playoffs. And when we talk about CYCLOPS, it's really Black-Gray that didn't show up yesterday, right? You spoke about Parker so many times, the top performer from APAC North.
He had the best stats in terms of rating, the highest plus-minus in terms of KD, the most kills, technically tied for the most kills, and yet really struggled. Yesterday, Soniqs had some struggles as well. Some of their top performers did not really show up the way that they wanted. I think it took 6 rounds for Kansan to find a kill in their very first match yesterday. Now, the one thing that has always been true about Soniqs is that they've lived and died off of their 3 top performers and their 3 top fraggers, Rexon, Kansan, and Grixer. If they show up, you've got a good supporting cast now in Gunnar and Geo, who came in to replace both Super and Yeti in the offseason. And honestly, Soniqs have looked like a mighty good team, even while they've been adjusting to a new set of strategies and a new set of leadership, with Super coming off of the team and now acting as, I believe, and Seth, don't grill me for this, I believe your official title is General Manager.
I believe so, yeah.
I believe that's accurate. It's a very nebulous term. For Soniqs and for CAG, they find themselves in different spots. Soniqs are actually second in this group right now, and have a pretty good shot of making. Okay,
it's 1 point over CYCLOPS.
But
it's like, yeah, but like barely. The point is that both of these teams really need the points right now, so this match in particular can really push Soniqs forward in the group and keep CYCLOPS near the bottom, or put Soniqs' entire plan of making it to playoffs into a big whirlwind, really. So, yeah, they both really need it. Of course, Black Dragons and CYCLOPS are tied with 2 points. Soniqs, they're second place with 3 points, and M&M, they have 5 points. It's still close.
It's a big day for CYCLOPS. They're going to be going up against Soniqs to start off with, but then also against Black Dragons. That will be a rematch of yesterday's matchup. Now, the #1 team in the group does not play CYCLOPS today. They do, however, play the Soniqs in the latter match. Our map veto is on the screen, and I mean, we can speculate. Now we know where we're going to go. We're going to go to Clubhouse.
So, the thing to note is that yesterday, CYCLOPS, they went to Bank, and then they went to Chalet. Soniqs, they went from Chalet to Chalet. So this is new territory for both of these teams for this tournament in particular. And I think they're both happy with that, given the results of yesterday's matches. They need something else in terms of playstyle, in terms of strategy, and also they can now bring out new things they have not shown before, at the very least, at this event yet.
That's Forbes 30 Under 30 winner, Goddess, behind them. Former competitor who used to be on Soniqs.
Who also subbed in for stage... Was it stage 3 or stage 2?
Or stage 2.
I think it was stage 2, yeah. Stopped in and actually smashed the competition on Jaeger on Chalet.
Yes, she did a great job. She filled in for Rexon, who I believe had come down with COVID or some form of respiratory illness. Who knows? There's a variety of things going around right now. But either way, Geo had been picked up on this team to come in and sort of fill that void that Super left. And obviously focusing on the Soniqs for just a couple more seconds before we jump over to CYCLOPS, that was really the question that I think a lot of us had working in the North American League, but also internationally, was that what Super brought to the team were often intangibles. They were things that didn't show up on the actual score sheet in-game. His stats in-game usually lagged behind most of his teammates, and in fact, he found himself in terms of in-game stats towards the bottom of the standings, either internationally and often domestically.
Yeah.
but he's been praised for being a great mind behind the game, and no doubt he got the most out of the rest of the team. There were a lot of questions raised about what happens when he goes off.
Yeah.
Who comes in and fills that leadership vacuum? Whether it's Gio or whether it's just the rest of the team stepping up, it seems like Soniqs are still firing on the same cylinders that they were when Super was on the team.
I agree, and regardless of who's taking over that responsibility, whether it's one person, the entire team, I was under the impression, I was thinking that Soniqs would have a very slow start to NAL Stage 3. It would take them a long time to readjust this massive change in leadership and structure. But no, they actually had a really great start in the NAL. They only had one weak game against TSM, that was on Bank. Outside of that, they were very consistent throughout the entirety of Stage 3. And they've had, I mean, a decent first day of groups so far. But I think today really has to be where they prove themselves, because they don't want to wait to get these points until the very final moment. That's going to be a little bit too much pressure and a bit of a nail biter at the end. The social vote. I mean, CYCLOPS, they are winning these, Parker. Yesterday and now today again, 51-49. It is close, but CAG, they take it.
It's a bit surprising, to be honest, but I also have to wonder if it's just simply who's awake.
I was going to say, any fans are asleep.
How many North American fans are genuinely awake at the moment? Because based on what we saw yesterday, Soniqs come into this matchup as the presumptive favorite just because of their results. As for CYCLOPS, BlackRay is the player that we're always going to be talking about, but not too far behind BlackRay is Ayagator. And Ayagator's stats over the entirety of APAC North's year, not even just Stage 3, the whole year, have been very, very good. Competing for the top in terms of kills, competing for the top in terms of rating. And we focused a lot on BlackRay and his inability to find the score sheet. But Ayagator's stats were very similar. In fact, if you recall in that M&M game, there were 6 or 7 rounds where Ayagator didn't get a single kill, and every single one of those rounds was won by M&M. The standout performer for CYCLOPS yesterday was Anaton.
Yep.
And if you can have that supporting cast step up, if you can have your support and flex players carry, then there's 2 thoughts I have. Number 1 is that that's great that you have that depth and that flexibility. But number 2, just as when Fabian was on the team with you, you don't want Fabian top fragging on a team that has Jonas and Kanto Raketti and you. You want Fabian to be somewhere in the middle. It's not exactly the most comforting sign when it's your support and flex players carrying the way and your fraggers are struggling. That said, let's get into this actual matchup. Clubhouse with Soniqs starting on defense. Operator bans are in. Anything you see outside of the ordinary?
No, I mean, Soniqs, they have to respect the Monty ban. Again, CYCLOPS is anything to replace that operator in particular. On Clubhouse, the Monty, especially on basement and CCTV attacks, can really enable the attackers over very limited direct attacks, which is very hard to deal with as a defender. Then Asami goes off the board for Soniqs. That's a very common ban both in the NAL, but also across the board for all regions. Valkyrie, of course, your classic information operator, and Hibana on Clubhouse is often taken off the board because it just makes the basement attacks really, really easy, as you can just brute force every single hatch with ease due to having those X-Cairo pellets available to you. So now the attackers have to kind of flex around and bring Heart Breach elsewhere. And that's why you see CAG bring the Ace as the primary Heart Breach, and then secondary Heart Breach gadget from both the Bok and the Ying, because they have to compensate for this Hibana ban.
It is really interesting to look at the way that APAC North played out domestically and now how they work internationally. Because in this matchup, Ayagator, who was second in rating in APAC North in Stage 3, is second last in this entire event so far. Ayagator's rating of 0.60 is only bested by Hot and Cold's 0.58. So the fact that you've got Ayagator, who's currently on your screen, whose role and whose history suggests that they should be competing somewhere at least in the middle of the pack, if not higher, against other international competition. The fact that they're in second last is quite poor. Not too far above Ayagator is Suzushi, but Suzushi also plays those support roles. Playing Hard Breach, playing Anchor, you're not going to be in the action most of the time. There's a great likelihood that you might die if your fraggers and your roamers die early. Not too far above Suzu are Gio and Kanzan. For Gio, that's understandable. For Kanzan, that is downright bad. And I know that Kanzan has had struggles internationally when it comes to getting kills, and while he's had some absolute standout moments, that clutch on Bank always jumps to mind when I'm thinking of Kanzan. But outside of that, he's had some struggles internationally. Today needs to be the day for the Soniqs. If they do want to make it to Friday, they absolutely have to have a good performance from Kansan in this matchup and the matchup later against Eminem.
We just saw the timing difference from that secondary heartbeat gadget because it was buffed in the most recent patch. It goes off, I think, 20 to 25% faster than previously, and that makes a difference between the kite call trick working out and not working out. So the kite trick is unsuccessful. Gunnar has the peel off moto. That hatch has been opened up. Now, the good news, the kitchen hatch is still closed for Soniqs with a minute to go. That's really great for them. They have 2 C4s, 3 if you count Grixer as well, that they could use to try and do some damage vertically. One goes out there, doesn't hit a single member, doesn't do any point of damage. But these C4s, if kept in pocket, can still be used to deny the push, which comes right now.
And it's 35 seconds to go, right on the moto door. There go the Candelas. CAG finding the scoreboard first. Both Kansan and Gunnar walking in. Grixer will go down. Rexen as well. Geo, the man, the myth, the legend, who's been at more international events than probably everybody else on SSQ combined, gets a single kill inside of Dirt Tunnel and then gets put out of his misery as CYCLOPS, within the span of 6 seconds, pulls off an execute, almost gets the diffuser down, and cleans out the site of Soniqs members.
I like Soniqs starting with a more passive turtle approach to basement defense because with Hibana being banned, those mirror windows are a lot safer than usual as you can't just brute force through them with those Excalibur pellets. But at the same time, when you see teams play really passive, you just give up that map control really, really quickly, which the attackers, if they have the right drone setup in the prep phase, can just storm through the map and have enough time to deal with all the issues that you put in front of them. The kite claws, the mirror windows, whether it's having C4s, etc. So I want to see Soniqs get more active on the map and enable their gunners to take these gunfights, or at the very least slow down CAG in their pushes, because if you are Soniqs and you watched the game that CYCLOPS played yesterday, you saw that the CYCLOPS themselves, when they play defense, they don't extend out around the map, and that's how they lose on when they defend. And now Soniqs are kind of repeating that same pattern, and it was an issue for them in the domestic region of the NAL, where Soniqs will play Oregon, they'll have 5 members in the base and bomb site, just waiting for the attackers to come to them, when theoretically, you should get out on the map yourself, like what Rexen's doing right now. This is a spawn peak, it's arguably high risk, high reward, but just getting like 1 tap bullet onto Blackray, it forces out a finger adrenal surge, and already now we've gained value of such a small thing of just peeking a door. And look, now we got a drone where he is, yellow pings comes out, you've bought 20 seconds. Minor things, massive impact. Speaking of impact, and it's innocent blitz. Now you can take this attack with the Munty and, take Catwalk from Garage, and it's really straightforward. With the Blitz, it's a bit more intricate because you can take damage throughout the round, and that's the second Adrenal Surge spent, and we haven't really had any real contestation from these 2 teams.
I don't know why we've now seen 2 Adrenal Surges go off, and then nothing else has happened. There's been no follow-up whatsoever. Is there something I missed here?
I mean, Blackray took 1 bullet to the knee, but that's really it. And now Gunnar somehow got found in the midst of that round, and this could be a rush from the breach park. They're gonna go right now.
And is there an Adrenal Surge waiting for them? They got the first pick on the Gunnar, but Rexen fires back. Anaton is taken out, and Suzu will follow. Kansan in this position upstairs in Garage, patrolling that area. CAG went for broke, and they absolutely did go broke. Not exactly the result they wanted, but they've got a good performance from Blackray so far, who gives his position away on red stairs, getting the attention of Grixer. The Doc with his MP5 in hand, playing the shoot angle, waiting around the deployable shield, and will have to test his reflexes. Grixer shines internationally in a heads-up contest. I can't say those words. In a heads-up contest against one of the best players in all of APAC. You need to make sure you're hitting your shots. It's still a standoff in this position. Geo falls, traded out by AA Gator, going down, and Blackray as well. Grixer in this position gets 2 very quickly. And there's a bulletproof camera staring at Gatorada, who seems to be in a desperate position. Shot away on as he heads away from the Garage. And he's finished off by Kansan, who picks up 2 kills on the round. Soniqs defending a bomb site that we actually don't see all that often here on Clubhouse, and they prevail on it.
CYCLOPS have now had the same issue once yesterday in their opening match and once today just now, where they play the blitz, but they don't go for that full committed rush because they want the setup to be perfect, so to speak. But when you go for these kind of rush plays, you're not going to find perfection. Your benefit is that you're going to be surprising your opponent by being fast and being chaotic. So you got to embrace that element and just full send the blitz in the building, because what I'm referring to is that the blitz dies before anything happens. You see it here. He's way outside the breach, tosses a smoke grenade, and then dies. And if you go back to their opening game against Black Dragons, same exact thing happened there as well. They play their blitz, they throw a smoke grenade, and the blitz is the first to fall immediately before anything happens. And that's their entire push. No real follow-up comes through after. Those smoke grenades don't really get utilized either, and then we're just scrambling around. And of course, Soniqs, they just hold their ground really, really well. They establish those crossfires, and they put themselves in favorable positions, and they have that bulletproof camera that grants them intel as well at the same time. That's how they get that round. That's CCTV successfully defended. That's going to take us to the gym bomb set instead, which plays out in a similar-ish fashion because Soniqs are going to be extending to the east-hand side of the map onto the cache. Grixer goes for a cheeky spawn peek onto Gatorada. That stature off the board, which could be a massive kill, but there's no wall deny on the side of Soniqs.
Immediately retrieves that dap from Goddess as well, hand up to get himself some form of ego boost going. Gatorada, the first one to falter, and that means that you have no EMPs whatsoever. If you look at the secondary gadgetry brought by the 4 remaining players of Cyclops, none of them have access to a secondary EMP. And it's not just Grixer who's getting in on this outdoor action. It's Kansan as well. He's trying to spray through the window and maybe pick off Black Ray in the process, but cannot hit his mark before finding a bit more safety in this gym bedroom bomb site.
Starting off with 4 against 5 is never a pretty sight. And I mean, arguably looking at the operators available, it's probably the best operator for Cyclops to lose because you still get your grenade, you still get your soft breach, you still have your execution operator in Ying, you still get your hard breach of Thermite, but you are working with one less gun. When you're fighting up against Kansan, Rex, and Grixer, and even Gunnar and Gio, who's now new additions to the side of Soniqs, you need as much firepower to shoot back as possible because they're a 5-man team now. There was this big meme, so to speak, that Soniqs was a 4-man team plus a voice. They're now a 5-man team, and they still have a voice as well, so they're more lethal than ever. That's been their biggest strength domestically. And so far in this matchup, it has been how they're rising to the occasion as well.
There's an exothermic charge going off. Black Ray on the Nook, trying to find an opening. Sneaking under the radar, good discipline. He sees the Melusi go flying by. Candelas will go out, but now Black Ray's in a rough spot, gets baited by the Banshee. Gunnar will come head-to-head with the Ying of Anaton and win that one out. Soniqs, after the first round of not being able to hit their targets and almost getting flawlessly pounded by Cyclops, have come back alive. There's plenty of artillery from Soniqs to hold out over the next minute. Iagator inside of construction. And he's spotted and taken care of by Rex, and 2 in a row for SQ as they win both of the upstairs bomb sites.
Yeah, straightforward really. I mean, the spawn peak for that particular gym defense just really sealed the deal. It was a rough beginning for Cyclops, and they never really managed to get back onto their feet. And now Soniqs, they're building this momentum, right? 2 spawn picks in a row. On CCTV, it just did a bit of damage, but on the gym defense, it got a full-on kill, headshot. Easy pickings for them. And now the question is, do they keep up this aggressive playstyle? Are they going to be roaming on basement and set that tone and that pace? And look at the operator lineup, it looks to be the case. Alibi, Capcan, Mossy, Mute, Melusi. It is full-on aggression, flexibility in the roam. They can even fake the roam with the Mute Jammers and the Mossy Pest and still fall back to the bomb site if they wanted to, so they have options to work with. Now, Soniqs, they're doing everything rather well right now. The question now comes, how will Cyclops pick this apart? What's going to be their counterplay of choice? And how do they deal with this issue in front of them? Right now, they're hovering at glass with no second set of smokes, and Stokebi picks them up. And I'm like, what's the glass gonna do for the roam clear? Maybe they're gonna go dirt with 5 members and brute force the door. I don't know. But right now, it doesn't seem like they're matching the same style of Soniqs where they wanna roam. Cyclops should be worrying about that, saying, we wanna tear it apart and get those pickings, but instead, another spawn peak just goes in favor of Soniqs, doing a little bit of damage.
Going for early picks. There's
like
Rexen, but Grixer's not too far off as well. They get the distraction, and now Grixer's here too, but he gets beaten by Black Ray. This is the Black Ray that we came to expect. Back in peak form and good performance. You know, I will say, I appreciate what the Soniqs are trying to accomplish right now, but I also always worry that when you go for these spawn peaks, that hubris can absolutely doom you. And look at Rexen now. He wanted for a spawn peak over towards stock. He wanted to go for a spawn peak, and now he's doing the same thing in kitchen. He's got the window open. Kitchen is going to be a very pivotal spot of this downstairs attack that Cyclops has to pull off. So at some point, there will be a collision course with Rexon.
I do agree that it's risky business, but I think you do it until it stops working because you're applying so much pressure and buying so much time. I mean, look at this round versus that opening basement defense. There's been 1 minute and 10 seconds off the clock. Not a single member of Cyclops is even inside the building yet. Whereas last time, they were breaching hatches at this point in time. They were doing vertical play, and they were already in the building. 2 smokes being used, one from Gatorada, one from Anaton each, so they both keep some spare in their pocket. That's a good choice for them. But there's nobody even in dirt from the side of Soniqs. They're clearing empty corners.
Gatorada not too far behind Anaton, and Gunner's taken out, presumably playing on site. The problem for Geo as he sits on these alibi clones is the logic bomb will give him away. Will continue to ring out. The Glaz eager to pounce on that information, playing this extremely tight pixel angle. The drones go in to give information. Soniqs understanding that some of Cyclops are coming through dirt tunnel. The question will be, are they prepared for it? Outnumbered 3v5. Black Ray on the split push through blue. If Soniqs decide to fight towards dirt tunnel, Black Ray could easily capitalize off of that, picking up a single kill at minimum. But instead a nade goes out. His position from blue has now been given away. You need these dirt tunnel players to get in quickly because with grenade in hand, he'll drop it, but Rexon still manages to get the very first kill for SQ. Rexon doesn't seem to know that they're both coming from dirt tunnel. Where else are the rest of them heading from? 4 players from Cyclops still up. They're being a little bit hesitant. Getting bogged down right now. Anaton's patience rewarded, but Geo in this position cannot pick which one of the 2 he wants to go after, leaving Kansan to deal with the diffuser going down. Narrowly missing out on Aegator. And a beautiful shot from Kansan, as now he'll have to go 1-on-1 against the Glaz. That DMR can do some mighty good damage. Kansan pull it off. No, he can't. Anaton around the boxes with the diffuser down, prevails in the gunfight. And CAG is 2 for 2 on this downstairs take.
Really intense last minute and 20 seconds as well, because CAG had 2 members in dirt, Black Ray on Liana on the blue stairs, and they kind of messed up the cover because Rexon was allowed to wide swing the blue door in front of 2 members in dirt without getting punished. But the trade came after that fact. They got 2 for the price of 1. They enabled the 1 versus 1 scenario where Anaton came out on top, and the Glaz pick didn't make a lot of sense on paper, but honestly, it worked out as we saw. It even came down to him being the last standing operator in that 1 versus 1 scenario against Kansan, who looked like he was up for the challenge, but ultimately couldn't quite take it. It's gonna tie up a series 2 for 2, and Soniqs are gonna go through those motions of which bombs that they like the best. We haven't seen bar yet. It's been basement, CCTV gym, basement, and then back to CCTV again. Where last time Cyclops went to that rush on the breach with the blitz, didn't work out. Soniqs took the round rather effortlessly. This time, a rather different operator lineup for them. A more stable and consistent one. We're bringing lots of grenades here. We got 6, in fact. The most nades you'll see in a given round, most likely, is going to be 6 frag grenades. Since both Maverick and Finger has lost theirs, their play rate also has plummeted. Whereas previously, they're both very, very popular operators on Clubhouse in particular. Having 6 grenades kind of signifies or signals to us it's going to be a garage attack. That's where you want to use those grenades typically, to clear that catwalk rafters area. But you still have options to go master bedroom as well if you would like to. You have 2 exothermic charges on Susi. That's all you really need. 1 for the main wall, 1 for construction wall. And CC wall goes first.
No bandit tricking, no Kaid Electric Law to come down, as neither of those operators are on the board. That'll open things up. No breach denial whatsoever from Soniqs, so they will let the wall be clearly taken out. Soniqs falling back. So Cyclops have opened this up in 45 seconds or so. Now what are the next steps?
Two options, master bedroom into construction, or you go straight for garage. The rotation has already shown that we're going for a master bedroom attack, and Soniqs, they've actually set this up and expecting this outcome. Gunnar, Grixer, and Kansen, the trio right now, have a triangle formation holding down this area. Gunnar covers the office portion, Grixer has the bathroom/gym portion, and then Kansen is the supportive cast, so he can hold the hatch for Gunnar if he needs assistance. Now CYCLOPS, they have to drone this information out, they gotta pick it apart step by step. That right there is a great opening. That's the central player, like in the middle. That's going to open things up for them.
And he might be able to get another as Gators in, not too far off the Ana of Black Ray. Shabazz' favorite operator, unable to get that kill. Did you see his tweet yesterday about 2B coming to Rainbow Six in the panel?
I actually did not.
It's probably for the best if you do not see Shabazz's, or as I like to call him Shibs, because I think it humbles him based on his Twitter handle, but his name is Shabazz, and I feel badly because I don't actually think I've ever said his name properly on a broadcast.
Oh, fair. Okay, now I know who he's talking about.
Yeah. Either way, he was quite happy at that Yana Elite.
Oh, I can imagine.
He was very happy with the Yana Elite that was shown. CAG finds themselves with 1 minute left. All 5 players up. They have been dominant in the rounds that they have won. Soniqs basically the same. That 1v1 that came down is the only thing that I can think of that was a real nail biter. Kansen inside of construction gets 1 player from Soniqs. Still in this spot. Watching the window, has to watch the door. The diffuser had been surrendered inside of the bedroom. It needs to be brought across at least 2 rooms and parked in cache.
Oh, the timing.
I don't know whether it's going to happen or not. The Nook of Aniton, could potentially make some noise, but Gio's there to read it perfectly. Gator a 3rd kill. Kansen falls. How many more can be found? The 2 remaining players from Soniqs need to wait out these final 10 seconds. And Gator's breathing in a lot of toxic gas. But he's fighting against Shadows, taken out by Rexit in this position. They trade out. Suzu, who's been brought back from the dead, will get the diffuser down, but Gio pulls out the shotgun at an ill-advised time. And CAG are prepared to deal with him, giving them a victory upstairs on cache CCTV and giving them the lead.
What a chaotic round again. It feels like both sides here don't know the exact whereabouts of the opposing members, right? Because Gator walked into the breach, on from construction, pre-firing every single corner, just hoping somebody would be there. They weren't. He got shot down. Then the 2 versus 1, Gio doesn't know which way to go, doesn't exactly know where the diffuser is going down, and then the last member of CYCLOPS, who's not planting, is running with a pistol in his hand because he's so far away from his teammate. He has to get in there really, really quickly. We see that replay on your screen right now. That's the chaos portion I was referring to. Every single thing just going wrong for both sides, essentially. But CYCLOPS, because they're getting that plant down, applied so much pressure that Gio had to make the aggressive move and got shut down in the midst of that weapon swap. So Jim is back where we go for the side of Soniqs, extending again to CCTV and cache. Pretty much have to. You can't just hold the master bedroom area. You don't have enough room to work with. There's only so many good positions, so we extend over instead to give ourselves more options and to soak up more resources. CAG right now, they're just kind of sharing the Nook on various members right now. Black Ray played 1 round, Aniton played another, but they keep bringing it. And so far, it's doing pretty good work for them. That phantom pressure of, oh, there could be a Nook over here, we don't know because all we have are default cameras, we do not see her when her gadget is on. That has a massive value at this level of play when information is so vital. Aniton, on the opposite aspect, makes a lot of noise because the Blitz is anything but silent. You're gonna hear him from a mile away. Frostmat might not have been droned out, we don't know for sure, but Gatorado is going to clear this barbed wire early on. That's going to apply a bit of pressure onto Rexon because now his sound cue on that red stairs is now gone. He has to worry about that physically every single time now.
All right, Aniton on this blitz again. A lineup similar to what CAG had brought in previous rounds, but there's no Finka on the board, Nick, so you don't need to worry about the adrenal surges coming in. I don't necessarily think the Finka was so critical to the actual strategy. Nade from below from Black Ray does not work out. Instead, he'll just march his way up the top of red, getting drone in, and then heading to a different portion of the map. Very quickly, Soniqs have conceded the entire cache CCTV side of the map. and nestled quite deeply inside of gym and master bedroom.
Yeah, this is one of those hard decisions you need to make as a defender. When and at what time do you want to surrender this space for free? And Sonic said, well, we'll go back at 1 minute 45 seconds. We're happy to take the 5v5 with that time remaining. And now CAG, they're working on the clock. They cannot really get any easy kills now because that cache area, that's normally where you build an early lead. And with that being surrendered, now you have to actually fight the bomb site itself to find these openings, which means once that initial breakout happens, everything is going to be following that next 10 to 20 seconds. So setup right now is stage 2 of the round, find information, pick it apart, and then go into stage 3, which is going to be that execute. Black Rays rotating towards the main stairs. Huge, vital key of this strategy. That can really start turning the heads of the members of Soniqs, and he also sees the gun barrel of Rexen downstairs in pool table.
Black Ray has not gone detected just yet, but oh no. He might actually miss this.
He should know, he's close right. He saw the barrel.
Oh, that could have gotten very messy. I imagine that's a jump scare for Rexen, but a look of steel on the face of Black Ray, who's having the performance that we expected yesterday. Cans in the first kill for Soniqs. Gunner will follow up shortly thereafter. Teams trading back to a 3v3 as Grixer is eliminated, and Suzu follows from CAG's side of things. There's 10 seconds left. And CYCLOPS are looking to take control of this first half, but Gadarada's their last chance, and he gets swiftly removed by Geo. A 3-3 to start off Clubhouse. Neither team any closer to the finish line. But now it's Sonic's turn to go on to defense, or Sonic's turn to go on to attack. CAG moves to defense.
And Black Ray fell for the classic "why are you there" scenario, where Soniqs had 2 members on the first floor. Rexen's at a pool table and 1 member's at a kitchen itself. And you kill 1 member thinking, it's gotta be clear now. I'm gonna walk up the main stairs and join my team for the execute. But what do you know? There's a guy in this odd position, seemingly makes no sense, that shuts it down instead. And that makes CYCLOPS attack a lot more linear as the main stairs was cleared out for the defenders. They could not capitalize. They did not find the opening kills on the side itself that they needed. Black Ray almost didn't even kill Rexen because he wasn't exactly sure about the whereabouts. It was a close one. Basement is where things started off for Soniqs, and basement is also where CYCLOPS will start themselves on the defensive side. They're playing the Echo. Suzu C has been playing this operator a lot yesterday. Capital on attack, Echo on defense. They love playing around information. Another key operator for CYCLOPS is going to be the Kaid, and it's especially strong if we don't see secondary EMPs or a Thatcher coming out from the side of Soniqs. Now, in the last 3 seconds, thankfully for Soniqs, Rexen went onto Dokkaebi with those secondary EMP grenades, and so Kansen actually on the sledge, sacrificing those grenades to also get another set. So we're clearly playing around the utility. And so wise choice as Clubhouse is all about that. But a sledge without frag grenades is something that almost hurts to see. Even though it's the right decision, it's such an odd thing.
We saw this yesterday in one of the matchups that we casted. There was a sledge with the EMP grenades.
And shotgun.
I mean, but look at Soniqs. They have 2 sets of EMP grenades and only a single pair of frag grenades in the hands of Grixer's Nook. I mean, attacking this bottom floor bomb site can get messy for teams that don't want to bring a Thatcher. Thatcher is not banned. CYCLOPS could have put the operator into their lineup if they so choose, but they did not. Now when you look at the hard breach that's being brought, 4 hard breach gadgets, 2 in the hands of the Buck and 2 proper exothermic charges in the hands of Thermite. If you're worried about getting that Moto hatch, if you're worried about getting that stock hatch, if either of them are Electroclawed, then you're going to need EMPs. There is no way, like in Kitchen, to shoot around the floor and take out the Electroclaw. You need some form of device to get rid of it. I understand why the Soniqs are doing it. I agree with you. It is somewhat painful to see a sledge without grenades.
But it's the right thing to do.
But it's the right thing to do with the lineup they have.
Yeah. Now you get double verticality from Buck and Sledge as a backup. You also get Dokkaebi's phone call gadget as well. So value-wise, you actually get more for your money, so to speak. But it also just means that it's a little bit more difficult because the secondary EMPs aren't as strong as the Thatcher. So it's not the wrong choice at all. It's just a different one at that. It's a slow round so far. Black Ray is still active on this roam inside of Garage. So at least CYCLOPS knows that the blue side is covered. Remember, Soniqs was on that blue window. Black Ray has the yellow ping, has that information. And Gunner might take the fight to him with this last minute to go. That's that secondary Heartbreach canister being opened, or used rather, on the blue hatch. Things are slowly starting to open up for Soniqs.
Bottom of the stairs, watching for a late flank. That was the position of Black Ray, but he's not too far off from Gunner. Wrong part of the map. Instead, with 35 seconds to go, Black Ray will decide maybe we'll take the secret stairs and go back to the bomb site. Grixer and the Buck both in that position. Black Ray almost gets 2 for his trouble. Walks away with 1 of Gunner. Cannot get the rest of Grixer. Aniton falls for CAG. Both teams losing 1 in the process. SQ drops into the middle of the bomb site. Diffuser in hand. The Wamai of Gator manages to take down Kansan, but then it's SQ's guns that find 2 from CYCLOPS. Outnumbered right now, but in roughly the same shape as that diffuser goes down. You need to get the yokai in place. They won't be able to do it. Grixer gets the echo, leaving Gatorada alone upstairs and spotted on a drone. They have managed to figure out where the last player from CAG is, and they can wait. The prone player inside of Moto can get it done, but it's Rex in long range to give the Soniqs the lead in their very first round on attack.
And it's again, CYCLOPS suffering the same error as yesterday. The Echo drones aren't really in the right position of being utilized early enough on to stall Soniqs and put them into that 0-second position. That was a 4 or 3.5 second plant success without the yokai. If you stun that one time, the second plant is gonna reach that 0-second mark. That could be a win condition for you. And if you have another yokai in your pocket or available to you on the map, that could be the round victory because you burned down the clock very successfully. Soniqs had a very late round execute. You even got the opening kill that was then immediately traded back into a 4 versus 4. But shortcomings for CYCLOPS, very small things just not going their way, which ultimately pays a massive price. Soniqs fundamentals are great though. They had the time they needed. They did burn through both of those Dokkaebi phone calls very early on in the round, didn't have them for the execute itself, but they got themselves into a position that was stable enough where they could execute in the first place. That's all that really matters ultimately. Gunner going from Maverick onto Thatcher, both of these operators doing the same similar job. But of course, with Maverick losing those frag grenades in the most recent patch a couple of months ago, it's a very weak operator choice because besides the gadget that can open up walls or make hard walls soft, you don't really gain a whole lot of value as Thatcher. You get 3 EMPs, you get soft breaching charges, and you can just toss them around from a far distance and get more uptime on your drone or holding an angle. Whereas with Maverick, you gotta paint a whole drawing on a wall to then enable someone else to open it. It's a lot of work. Instead, it's Geo on that classic iconic Thermite, Rexen on the secondary Harbage of Ace. Thermite can circumvent the mid-jammer if there is one on the wall by repelling like Geo is. If you put up a little bit further, it's going to be an EMP choice instead. Either way, the wall gets opened up on this gym defense.
Not too hard for them to get it open. Do so within the first minute. It's roughly the same time that we saw out of CAG when they were on attack. Different site rotation, though. No cache CCTV, instead going over to Gym. We have not seen a bar stage yet, which was the tertiary bomb site.
I just dropped.
Yeah. In fact, it was actually the secondary bomb site that we saw yesterday, and indeed, it is a drop. Soniqs get a good understanding of this, and they can just take charge, grabbing the bomb site. It's going to leave Black Ray all alone, and Soniqs sweep through the CAG defense. Diffuser in hand for Geo. Suzu, the last one standing. He takes Kansan down with him. But there's 4 more bodies from Soniqs to find. The clock, 40 seconds, that's perfect. 1 member of Soniqs per 10 seconds, easily doable. Only problem, you're not able to get onto the diffuser in time. Rexen outside, sees the pre-fire, reads into it properly. And that's 3 in a row for SQ, 2 in a row on attack. They're marching their way towards the full 7 points.
And that entire round just comes off Kansan using his drone on the off his hatch drop and seeing it's actually clear. And then we can just go for it. So CAG are leaving a tiny gap every single round. And Soniqs are so efficient at finding that small gap and then really exploiting it to their advantage because office hatch is such an important access point for the attackers. And normally just 1 member from the defenders inside of office, you cannot drop the hatch. You're mid-animation, you're falling down, you can't really fight back, you can't shoot back, etc. You don't have much info to work with, but because that room is left clear, it's really, really easy all of a sudden. Geo and Kansan drops, they get 2 kills off each other, plant goes down immediately, and then you gotta play retake over from that CCTV extension. And CYCLOPS, obviously very unhappy with those rounds going that way. Gonna call for a tactical timeout to talk it through and figure out the plan going forward because it's slowly slipping away. That's not how they want to start day 2.
Not at all. We said that Bar Stage had not showed up. Well, I actually said that, but you agreed with me. It will appear for CAG as their tertiary bomb site. That's site number 3. With how quickly both Church and Jim went in favor of their opponents, I don't think Bar Stage is that bad of a shout, Nick.
No, not at all. My only concern is that the CYCLOPS are leaving these gaps in their defense, and because Soniqs have been finding them out every single time, you gotta play a tight net on this bar defense. And there's 2 ways to do it, right? You got information on the bomb side, the bulletproof from Gatorada, the Maestro Evil Eyes from Sususi. Then you play upstairs where you see 3 members are right now, and you can hold the bomb side vertically with all these holes in the floor. That means by just holding one floor, top floor, you can also hold the floor below it from those angles. That's gonna allow you to play much closer together, which CYCLOPS needs to do against Soniqs. But the other part is, you don't have Valkyrie on the board, so your information is limited. If Soniqs can clear out those Evil Eyes, or just get comfortable on the bomb side, for example, using those Osa shields from Geo, they can just start planting. So CAG gotta hold on, play together, and trade off one another.
The amount of times we've seen a team open up that front door, get in with either smokes or a shield in front of them, get the diffuser down behind them is huge. It's perfectly possible for CYCLOPS to do the exact same thing. Or, well, SQ to do it to CYCLOPS, rather.
Yeah, yeah.
True. It's a mental thing in my brain where I keep thinking that CAG is now on attack, and I think it's just...
I had the same thing.
Can you believe that their next match is Wolves Direwolves? Oh, boy.
Yeah, I made a joke about that when we saw the groups, and then I ended up casting it today, so... Yeah.
Yeah. Such is life.
Such is life.
That's going to be a thrilling matchup because, to me, Direwolves are such a wild card.
Oh.
I genuinely have no idea how that matchup is going to go, just as I genuinely had no idea how this matchup was going to go. It is nice to see Black Ray back to form for CAG. Iagator, too. Again, Iagator is the 2nd lowest rated player in the entirety of this event through 2 days. Whereas in APAC North, he's the 2nd highest rated player through their 7 play days. So, bit of a difference to make up. As for Soniqs, Kansan has also had a good bounce back day, and even Geo is going positive. So there's promising signs here for both of these teams, Nick.
I'd agree with you. Slow start for Soniqs, but slowly starting to get inside the building. Now, master bedroom control is what they want, right? That verticality we spoke of earlier. If they can successfully clear out bathroom, they get the half of the map that they want. But it's not easy to push through this rotate from Gunner. So we're gonna wait it out. Red ping comes out, but the push has yet to come through. Geo is gonna rotate those Talon shields to again grant a cover position for the attack inside of Soniqs. But how do you get through this position? How do you fight Maestros at the bathroom? You flash and go. I think that's it.
There's flashes going in from Gunner. Droned in, and he has information easy to capitalize off of Suzu, who's vulnerable and blinded in that position. Anaton gets 1 for CAG. Teams trade out quite evenly. Despite the scoreline, Soniqs have not been that proficient at getting the first blood in this matchup. CYCLOPS have had the lead through most of the rounds, but they don't have the bulk of the rounds to show for it. 15 seconds remaining as Soniqs' approach is going to come from billiards and over in the strip club area. Gatorada waiting as the plant goes down for Geo. Rex gets 1, but a huge C4 takes out Geo. Aagator in as well, and the defuse plan is stopped in its tracks. CYCLOPS breaks the streak that SQ is on, and they pick up their 4th round in this match.
All comes down to time again. If CAG can burn down the clock enough where Soniqs are working against themselves, sprinting through the building, trying to get to their destination, that's how they win those rounds. That C4 shutting down the plant with 4 seconds left, while all the remaining members of Soniqs have to sprint to the bomb site trying to recover it. It's then an easy gunfight for the remaining defenders. And they're successful. And oh boy, now we're gonna start seeing those shenanigans play out. We're seeing the Goyo from Iagator and Anaton on the Clash. So again, we're stalling for time. Clash is an operator that very, very few teams like to bring at the tier 1 level of professional play. Wolves in Europe used to play it back when they were Vitality, but they haven't played it in recent times. Villa is a map where we most typically would probably see the Clash. Clubhouse is not really on that list. Yesterday, I believe CIG played the Clash operator on Chalet as well, with mixed results. Well, actually, it was Bang CO defense. I have to correct myself. On Bang CO, they played it. Did not win the round, get down to a 1 versus 2. Anderton, last member alive, did not find the clutch. This time, for CCTV, let's see if he can make a different outcome happen for him and his team.
Look at how brazen forward Anderton is.
That's so annoying to deal with as an attacker. You can't really do much against it.
I feel like we've seen this on Villa.
Yes.
As well. Players will go out on study and then have somebody peek behind them. The old consulate doorway looking out to police line, if you recall. I believe it was Kanto that actually did this.
Yes.
I think it was on Echo behind a Clash. Either way, the combo of Anderton and Ayagator trying something cheeky by Garage does not work out. Suzu falls in a completely unrelated part of the map. Dies to Grixer. Rexon's broken double digits right now. He's the only player in the match who has done that. Grixer not too far behind, as are Black Ray, Kansan, and Ayagator actually sitting at 9 kills.
When you opt to play either Monty or Clash, one of the downsides that you suffer from is that you have one less gun to work with, because the gadget, like you see right here, is often going to be held in your hand. So when you lose the opening kill of Castle in this round for CAG, you only have 3 guns against 5 now. You need these kills to go your way, otherwise the Clash becomes useless essentially. So SQ are nullifying this aspect really well strategically, and also Rexon, he's got those Capital Fire Arrows to deal with the Clash and Catwalk Rafters once they can get inside the garage itself.
Still holding this garage component of the map as we hit the halfway point of round number 10. Soniqs seen that 3-round streak that they were on snapped by CYCLOPS in the previous round, but a victory here puts Soniqs in position to pick up at least 1 point. With how competitive this group has been, that's quite nice for them, especially as they sit in second place and at least want to keep pace with M&M, if not outright surpass them in terms of points. Overtime could be possible. It just really depends. For CYCLOPS, your win con is just make sure that when they go in, you can stop them before you get the diffuser down. SQ has been very, very attentive with getting this diffuser planted. 2 successful executes and a 3rd that was stopped in its tracks in the previous round. But the bad news for CAG is they've just gone down another player and find themselves staring down a 3v5.
And it's the Clash. I mean, they got 2 C4s to work with. Nice kill from Black Ray, but it's gonna matter. Sonics are on the bomb side.
DMR's in spades right now for this SQ team. Outside, a Nitro Cell goes in. Ayagator does some serious work, and there's Black Ray somehow puzzlingly getting the kill. So the diffuser gets planted for Soniqs. You know, limited the HP is on Gatorada. The retake is going to be mighty, mighty tough. Black Ray doesn't have access to a Nitro Cell anymore, so instead it's just going to be the shotgun from below, and he's looking in the wrong direction. All of the security from Soniqs is gone. Gatorada sees the Capital and will call for the mark. The LMG from Rexon means that there is an abundance of bullets. Black Ray almost gets Rexon as well, but Rexon's going to play the angle and just pop down. This should be an easy finish for him, but the timer hits it. Black Ray gets a quad kill, but no time to get back to the diffuser. Heartbreak, as that's 12 kills for Black Ray, but the round still goes to their opponents, and Soniqs move to match point.
Such a really nice try to clutch, and what a close round that was. If you recall earlier, Black Ray jumped out of construction window and ripped a C4 kind of like mid-animation, and it just missed the mark by a tiny bit, and that did not kill the planter. Otherwise, that round could have gone differently. But even then, even though that happened, Black Ray jumped out another time, and the 3rd after that got 2 kills, and the retake, it looked so possible. It was oh so close, but not enough. Match point for Soniqs. They're putting themselves really in the lead now with 2 rounds. Losing Anderton the way they did in that round, like giving up Garage early, and Anderton was peeking out the main breach for information. As he turned his head towards the outside area, well, member of Soniqs walked up the catwalk stairs and just got the freest kill of his life onto a very, very hard operator to kill. If Clash was around, that entire round could be in such a different scenario. You get free information, you can sap for damage, you can try and play the retake, you have 1 more gun if you come off the shield. So many different tools you can approach it with. Nice shot in chat from Grixer. I like this from Soniqs, getting on the Jackal, trying to control the roamers, try and isolate members and try and get the kills, play off the man advantage. That's what Soniqs been doing so far. They find the opening kill, or at the very least they trade back and forth, and they play those even numbers very, very well. CYCLOPS are continuing to play around the information game. Suzuki bring out the Maestro on a defensive kind of basement setup with very aggressive roamers. So if the roam falls apart, the bomb site is still strong. You still have information, you have C4s, etc. And if the roam is successful, all of a sudden for CAG this round is very, very good looking for them.
Pings going in from the Alibi Prisma. I mean, there's obviously some rays of hope here for CAG, no matter what happens in this matchup. The result seemingly favoring Soniqs. This has been an attacker-sided Clubhouse. Not by much, though. That first half, if you recall, went 3-3, but Soniqs have been far more impressive on attack, matching the tally that they had on defense, and things will continue to go well for them as they find the first kill in round number 11. Anaton is gone. The Roamer and the Malusi is no more. Gadarata will seek some shelter in the actual bomb site down below, as he's now been chased off of the top floor. So even though you haven't roam cleared Anaton or Gadarata, you've at least been able to get him out of the position after that Anaton kill.
Yeah, and you still got the Jackal, so you can now figure out if there are any remaining roamers not having to drone the entire map, because having to drone strip, for example, in the midst of all this roam clearing, it takes a long time. Rexon can now enable his team to save valuable 20 seconds here, and you really need that. You see, checking everything there, hatch trap, bar, etc. They know it's clear. They can start phase 2. Breach open the hatches, choose where you want to execute, and then once you feel ready for it, you push that go button with a man advantage. Flashbangs on Geo, no smoke grenades in it to remind you, so you don't have any ways to deny lines of sight. You have no frag grenades because you're bringing those EMPs again from Sledge. So it's all about gunplay and gun skill, so man numbers advantage really is how SQ's gonna win this round.
You hear one of the, here's some intel down below. The Evil Eye looking. Suzu picked off. Both Suzu and Gadarata have had rough games today, and it has not benefited CYCLOPS' both roam and support play whatsoever. Gadarata's the next domino here on A bomb site. He's got some backup of Black Ray, not too far off. Holding this position, but shot from above from Grixer. This is shaping up to be a flawless round, but iGator says not yet. I'm not ready to let this one go. We want at least 1 point. Let's see if overtime can happen. But iGator down leaves Gadarata as the last man standing. Soniqs in prime position are 3 points within their grasp. While Gio's got the diffuser in hand, Gadarata just needs to stop the plant. That's it. But as he tries to get there, Rexon shuts the door on a CAG comeback and shuts the door on Soniqs losing a single point in this match. All 3 for the North American team. And it's already a better start for NA, and we're only a single match in. Excellent work by Soniqs, and even though they lost, some excellent play from the star performers on CYCLOPS, which shows bright spots and hopefully bodes well for CAG's match later today. Soniqs still walk away with all 3 points.
Yeah, it's an important match of both teams because it's going to put you in a much better position going to the next game as well. CAG, they really are backs against the wall now. While it looked better than yesterday in some areas, well, in other areas, they also still fell short. So they got to figure those things out during their break. And then in the next game later today, they got to fix those things and show up stronger. Whereas Soniqs, they can keep on working those small improvements because they're already looking a lot better than they did in day one.
Absolutely. Minor improvements for both teams, and despite the result, that's still 4 rounds from CAG, still coming as close to the full 12 that they could have. It was not a drubbing, it was not a blowout, and honestly, for some of the teams after yesterday, I think that's your expectation. Just don't get slaughtered and try to be a bit more competitive. I think CAG definitely accomplished that. We'll recap this matchup in just a couple minutes, but first, our sponsorship obligations must come. We'll throw to a break. We'll be right back.
I'm Nicholas Morton, but you know me as Pingu. I'm a two-time Rainbow Six Siege World Champion and former top Rainbow Six Siege player in Pro League. Welcome to my Siege Ranked Bootcamp. We're talking 20 seconds left on the clock, you got the diffuser in hand, what do? Play the way that you're comfortable with, because you have confidence when you're in this position. That is when you're gonna be at your very best. Good luck.
First matchup of the day is in the books, and North America walks away with all 3 points in their quest to have at least a single team compete in the playoffs on Friday. Soniqs already came into the day in one of those 2 spots here in the group, and they're in even better position now to make it into the playoffs, beating CYCLOPS 7-4, Nick.
Yeah, and it's only fair for all the early risers co-streaming and watching that NA gets some success early on, but it wasn't that easy for Soniqs, right? Sure, they ended up winning, but CYCLOPS, they were fighting back almost every single round. There are a few gaps in how CYCLOPS approached this matchup, and I will just say, Soniqs, they really did a good job at abusing those, and that's why they came out on top. It's a great job from them, but that's not going to work against every single team.
Absolutely. Yesterday it was relatively easy to pinpoint some of the problems that CYCLOPS had. Their 2 star players, Gator as well as Black Ray. Numbers 1 and 2 in APAC North in terms of rating and in terms of kills. They just didn't show up. They had very bad performances. Yeah. It was out of character for them. Today, you cannot point your finger at that because both of these players showed up for CAG. It was the supporting cast that in so many ways let down CYCLOPS today. So yesterday, your star fraggers have trouble. Your supporting cast, by and large, steps up, Aniton in particular. Today, Aniton had an okay day, but the supports were invisible on this team, and they just could not deal with Soniqs' entry. And I know that sounds like we're thrusting the supports into a bad light, but in all reality, the light needs to be shone on SQ because time and time again, both Gatorada and Suzu would be in a position where Grixer or Rexen or Kanzan could very easily walk in unchallenged and get the kill, and that's something that you need to give commendation to Soniqs for.
Absolutely. Abusing gaps is a skill of the team that's succeeding in that area, whereas it also just shows a story of both the backline and the front line of a team matters equally, right? It's all about how it plays together. Good drone work for the entries, they go in with information, they get the kills, boom, boom, pow, success. If one area falls apart, essentially, it all falls apart.
Well, ignore what's on the screen because CYCLOPS did not win 7-4. Soniqs won 7-4, so that's the actual scoreline. And honestly, a relatively exciting matchup to start things off. I didn't really come in with any expectations, and as casters, I think we have to set our expectations back in order to give the match the fair shake it gets.
Yeah.
But you had the superstars from Sonic show up, you had the superstars from CAG show up, and they collided quite well. Time and time again on attack, Black Ray was able to find a way in. Sonics did the same thing when they moved to attack later on, and it ultimately made for a much closer 7-4 than I think the scoreline shows.
It does, and it comes down to which team attacked better on Clubhouse. That, to me, was a defining factor because they both defended in similar fashions, right? If you go gym defense, extend to CCTV. So it comes down to how you pick it apart as an attacking team, and that's just where Soniqs have a slight edge.
Absolutely. On the other stream right now, you might be wondering what's going on. Well, Black Dragons and M&M are currently competing, and it actually looks like the matchup has ended with Black Dragons winning because they have now jumped up to 5 points just ahead of M&M, which puts both CYCLOPS and M&M in danger. But of course, this depends on how the tiebreaker works for M&M Gaming. The good news for this group is that all of these teams will be in action later today, Nicholas. We will be casting one of them. We'll be casting the CYCLOPS versus Black Dragons matchup. But on top of that, Soniqs and M&M will do battle in what will be an incredibly important match because if Soniqs wins that, it all but guarantees that they will be here on Friday as they will sit atop the group with 9 points. Still possible because all the teams will be in 2 matches tomorrow, but the math heavily favors Soniqs. If Black Dragons defeat CYCLOPS, both of those teams will be quite favored to make it out of the groups and compete on the main stage on Friday.
Meanwhile, if CYCLOPS beats Black Dragons, you have 5 points, 5 points, 5 points, and 6 points before any other matches play out. So it can also go the opposite direction of Soniqs, they can leapfrog ahead, but then you have 3 teams that are all on the same point level for day 3.
Chaos timeline is if CYCLOPS wins in regulation, and then M&M wins in overtime over Soniqs, because then Soniqs still get a point, M&M gets 2 points. CYCLOPS get all 3 points, and the whole group is tossed into chaos. You know what that means? It means that there's much must-watch television tomorrow because all of these teams will be on the razor's edge. A single victory could mean the difference for every single one of those teams as to whether you actually make it into the playoffs. And it's not even just about winning the major. There are other implications at play when it comes to this event because depending on how some of these teams go deep into the event, it's going to boost or possibly cripple their chances of qualifying for the Six Invitational.
Yeah.
We ran a graphic yesterday that showed that depending on how certain teams do in the group stages, they might be able to clinch their spot to compete in Montreal in just a couple months, which is obviously maybe, I wouldn't say overshadowing winning a major, but is something that is equally nice because every dream of every single team at all of these events are to make it to the Six Invitational and ultimately win and become world champions. So that's something that's playing into the back of the minds of these teams as they have to get through this major first. They might be able to pick up a prize along the way.
Yeah, and a prize that is very close to hearts because you said it's every single player's dream to play at Invite. I wouldn't even say to win it. I mean, that's the ultimate dream.
Well, of course you wouldn't say that. You've won it twice.
But to play on the main stage in quarterfinals alone, it's such an experience.
Of course, nobody cares to win it. I've only won it twice.
I'm not saying they don't care. I'm just saying that's like
In
the
a row.
ultimate dream. How many teams can realistically say, I think I can win Invitationals Grand Finals? Not many teams can say that. So the realistic scenario is that you want to qualify for it and maybe make the quarterfinals for most of those teams.
Well, it's definitely something that goes into the back of their mind. But while we will be discussing whether teams can make it out of the groups, we'll also be keeping our eyes focused on whether they can qualify for the Six Invitational. All of this will be going on in the background. But that's just match 1. We've still got a ton more to come. And up next here on the channel, we're going to have the hopefully not confusing matchup of the European Wolves versus the APAC Dire Wolves.
Oh boy.
In just a couple minutes. Sit tight because we've got more Rainbow Six Siege to bring to your screen.